Hi everyone, welcome to this almost back to school Gamersyde Live. Tonight we are going to show you Control, whose review we just released, and we liked it a lot. And tonight we are mostly going to show you a lot of the ray tracing stuff, along of course with some of the game. And as usual, Driftwood is going to do the playing and quite a bit of the talking. Hi Driftwood.
Hi, Blim, and hi, everyone. Yes, we're back after a pretty hot summer vacation.
Oh, it's still hot.
It's still,
actually.
yeah, it is still hot. It's still the summer, technically, so that's probably why. And it was actually also quite a rush after Gamescom, getting a few interesting review codes, and one of them was Control, which I was looking forward to trying. Daphne actually did play a bit of the game at the NVIDIA event, which showcased ray tracing, obviously, and I couldn't see it myself. I was busy at that moment, so I was quite curious to see what Remedy had in store for us for this new game. That, for me, when it was announced, looked a lot like Quantum Break. I know the visuals,
there's something without the engine, and there's everything. That's exactly that this is the Northern engine. I think it's called.
I think it is the name indeed, and
Yeah.
And one thing that is probably a bit different than Quantum Break, and not good different, I would say, is that character faces, they actually vary from good to really bad. And I don't remember, maybe it's me and I forgot, but I don't remember it was the case for Quantum Break.
They clearly didn't have the budget of Quantum Break for sure. 505 compared to Microsoft.
Well, yeah, true.
Yeah.
But the thing is that
the
game
shimmering is really bad.
Yeah, that's also one of the things. So just a quick look at the display options. I'm playing the game full screen, 4K resolution, rendered 1080p. Why not more? Because basically more, and then the experience isn't smooth anymore, especially if you're using RTX options. NVIDIA DLS VSync is activated. It's DLSS. Sorry, yes. VSync is activated, not in the game, but in the drivers. Custom, because I actually can reactivate it, but I deactivated film grain. But the rest is as high as it can be. High for far object detail, ultra resolution for the textures, high texture filtering, high shadow resolution, medium shadow filtering, no high option for some reason, high volumetric lighting, SSAO, high screen space reflections quality, high global reflections, no MSAA, obviously because we're using DLSS, and then ray tracing. And this is one of the new thing, I would say, compared to previous games which featured ray tracing, is you can actually select what you want to see in the game. And if you use medium, for example, it's just the first two, but you can basically try and choose whatever you like if some of the things you consider
really nice.
are not really important. Then what I really like, for me personally, is the transparent reflections. That's something that I think works very well, and that you can see even when not paying attention. The rest, the reflection, the ray traced reflections, obviously they're more detailed and more accurate than what they usually use in game. But what they do usually, that also works somehow. So you get to pick and choose what you want.
They use a full screen algorithm for the reflection otherwise, which is, it's okay until you've got a very specific angle where there is nothing to see from that will be reflected, and of course there's no reflection anymore.
And something that you can actually see in the side-by-side video I posted is that there's a reflection of something that is outside the room actually.
Yes.
And it's not the reflection of the room, and that's a bit odd. I mean, you probably won't notice it when playing, but if you stop and think about it, there shouldn't be any reflection there, and it's because it's not RTX. And then the rest, it's more subtle, I would say. You can probably see the difference when you look at two images side by side. But it's
in your video, I thought contact shadows really made a big difference. But
yes,
maybe
they
it's
did.
because you were actually showing specific stuff. Like I remember a chair where all the legs of the chair, they didn't have shadows without RTX, and they had the shadows because, of course, when you are using shadow maps, only big objects will actually.
So you can
be
see
able
here
to have
with
a
the
shadow
flag.
here. Yeah.
Flag here has a shadow, which is not going to show when there's no RTX. But obviously, this is not something you're going to see when playing and shooting people. So you get to choose again if that makes a difference. It's more visual fidelity. So obviously, it comes with a cost, and it's the upgrade on the visuals does not always seem to be worth it for a lot of people, which I understand. But overall, when playing with this configuration, for me it works pretty well. I don't think I have the latest. Well, I have the latest drivers, but I don't think the latest drivers from August 28th actually included control. So I'm hoping also that the new drivers that will probably come out this week will also help a little bit. The advice from NVIDIA was to play with the card we're using, which is an RTX 2080 Ti, to use it's a 1440p and 1960p rendered, so which obviously is lower resolution. And it's a bit blurrier when you play, but you also tend to forget about it when playing with all the effects. There's a lot going on during the combat, and this is also where the game shines when the physics is in action. There's a lot of things flying around. You can basically grab almost anything, even like chunks of the wall or the ground, and throw everything at the enemies. It's a good combination with the gun, or the different guns you have, because here it's just the beginning of the game, so there's only the one gun, but you're going to get more guns as you progress.
It's really remind me of Quantum Break. This machine, orange stuff in the background. It didn't have exactly this, but this could be a screenshot from Quantum Break, basically.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they use some of the assets, or maybe modified them somehow, but that would be quite normal for a game that.
Yeah, it's more about the artistical touch than actual assets, but
yeah, probably also, yes, you're right.
I like the engine. It's very difficult to get it to run at real high resolution.
It's true. I think I can run now Quantum Break at 4K, like real 4K, but it's how long has it been since it was released on PC?
DirectX 11 version. So I think
the
DirectX 12 implementation is still completely broken.
Probably. I can't remember. I should probably download it again. So you can see that, like, talking about gameplay a little bit, there are a lot of things to collect, resources, mods for guns, which I don't have a lot here, but we'll use a later save point after that. And mods modify how weapons work, and then when you upgrade the weapons, you're going to have more slots for mods. And it's the same goes with personal mods for Jessie herself. You play as Jessie Faden, and she's looking for a brother who's long disappeared, and she enters the Federal Bureau of Control in the beginning, and then things don't make any sense, basically, most of the time. It's like you hear people talk about things and things happen and you say, what the hell? And that's also why I like it. It's just a Remedy game where you know, shit happens. You don't really understand why. You don't understand how the game world works. You know, there's something to do with some sort of astral plane or something that like another sort of dimension that that merges into reality somehow, and it's pretty interesting to follow, I would say. So I'm just walking around. I'm not following the objective as far as I can tell, and I'm going to try and show you that here. Oh, I know, camera angle is different, so you don't see it. If you take a look at the that's maybe a bit weird because it seems to be I don't think it's glass, but there's a reflection on the poster.
Well, maybe the paper is glossy.
Oh yeah, but you know, still.
If you look on the poster on the right of the picture, it didn't have this reflection, so I guess it's just glossy paper.
Probably, but I don't think like glossy paper can reflect.
Oh, it could.
Could it?
It's not.
The red one also does
it
it.
Too much.
The others,
but
no.
You can see the others they don't have all a reflection.
No, it's true.
So it's just a few of them who have, well, I guess in the PBR settings for that textures, they went a bit too far with the reflections, or maybe it looks good without ray tracing. Because clearly, if something when they had to create all the textures and everything, they had to choose between does it look good without RTX or does it look good with RTX, and clearly their priority would be no RTX.
So here they have a sort of shield that I need to use this power in order to break it before I can shoot them. But you know, when you get more and more powerful, just throwing them stuff at in their face is just enough to really kill those guys.
One thing I wish they didn't reuse is the bar, which is at the top of the screen. It was I think the same in Quantum Break, and I think it's a bit too simplistic. It's very strange. It's just a white rectangle, I guess.
So what's happening also, and this has happened to me, but for example, not yesterday as I was playing. Sometimes there are micro freezes that you may have seen. It's not the stream. It's sadly it's the game. And yesterday was fine playing at this Revolution. I had a few drops, like you said, like normal drops, going to 57 instead of 60 or 55, but that was okay, right? Tonight, probably because we're live, or today because it's, you know, it was also the day when I had to take care of the videos. Nothing is working as it should, but like I said, proper drivers, I'll see what it does, and might also be you know, the setup itself. Who knows? You know, it's a good PC without a doubt. But see, like micro freezes.
It is a good PC, yeah.
Yeah, but maybe, you know, the install was not clean enough for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's just the, you know, Epic Store. Oh, something that, well, I have more powers now, so I can do things that I can't do now. Which is, for example, I can throw them the rockets back at them. So you don't get warned. You just have to be you know, to be cautious and to listen to the sound that, you know, the rockets make when they are shot. But grenades also can be thrown back at the enemies, which is cool. But here I don't have that. I don't even have the dodge power in this at this moment of the game. So there's also shadows for the ashtray.
Yeah, got the shadows again. Can you disable the feature just to show?
Oh yeah, maybe just to see if it's really missing on the ashtray, and then it, you know, when you see it's not missing, we look like idiots.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's still there. So, which means the, you know, the engine's pretty good. it's doing things, or this is not real time. I don't know. So it remains to be seen if the flag we saw earlier was had the the bits I showed in the side by side video. I chose carefully and wisely, I would say. So you can find, audio logs.
Yeah, maybe you can show the legs of the chair that was just there. Maybe we will be able to see something. Yeah. Yeah, and then we enable the contact shadows, and we should see the shadow behind
We
some of
should.
the
If we don't, then I don't understand what the hell is going
more
on.
egg on my face. I'm fine with that.
Oh, seriously? Nothing? That's strange.
Well, I guess the light is just above it, so no shadows.
Yeah,
Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, maybe there. Yeah, here.
Well, you're going to
Because
see.
It's a dynamic object too, so
It is. Yeah, it is. You can.
maybe.
It's no, it's less
Yeah,
it's less
much
defined.
fainter,
Yeah. Also, that
But,
doesn't make much of a difference, but
no, it clearly doesn't.
doesn't no.
Anyway, yeah, it's ray tracing. Right now, it's not going to get any different with.
You can see more shadows for the top of the chair also,
and more diffuse too. So it looks more natural. Of course, during the regular gameplay, it doesn't matter in the slightest.
Yeah, but it's like the combination of everything together works well when you look at the scenery. Even if you can't quite put your finger on it, you say, "Oh yeah, this looks very nice." But it's when
ray tracing is more about what the developers are now able to do. Of course, we should be able to see reflections of the character in the pipes normally.
The pipes. This one you mean?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I'm not
sure. You mean here? I would say maybe the color here of the pipes is bounces on the wall.
It's diffuse
lighting.
Diffuse light reflections and things like that. But that's really impressive. If you disable ray tracing completely, we shouldn't have the orange pipes.
We shouldn't. Let's see. I realized how good I was at actually selecting what to show in the side by side video now. Yeah, no, it's gone.
You see, it's just an amorphous blob. No, I mean on the above. Yeah, this, and also in the metal piece on the. You could see the reflection of the. Yeah, go on the right a bit more. Yeah, here you could clearly see the pipes in the reflection. Re-enable. Go a bit below and re-enable. Enable RTX again, and you will see at the top of the screen.
Yeah, it's
you can see the curve and everything,
and the color.
And of course the actual global illumination with bounces of the light, something that's it's when you think about it, it's quite mind-blowing that what a developer managed to do without ray tracing until now. For example, when you see this game, of course, but we got a lot of talks from the developer of Metro Exodus at the DDC that I watched, and it's funny because in the beginning they actually debated if they should do ray tracing or not, because they thought it would be actually breaking the game. But when they tried, they started to do the implementation, they realized that, it just looked perfect and natural, because obviously you are actually doing calculation with the light itself and not just trying to emulate how our light works in the real world. So in the end, what they did is put ray tracing into the level editor directly, and they would actually put fake lights wherever they could for the rasterized version, so that it looked almost as good as the ray tracing version. That's why when you see Metro Exodus and you switch global illumination from ray tracing to actual rasterization, you don't see much of a difference except in very specific instances where they actually couldn't fake it. But otherwise, it looks almost the same, and it's basically that's how they did it. They didn't go, okay, here we are going to do the rasterization, and then we are going to implement a ray tracing above it, because it wouldn't work. It would look completely different. So what they did is they go the inverse way, and it made the game better for everyone in the end.
Indeed.
And especially for the developers themselves, because it allowed them to actually put the lights and everything where they could see immediately what it did. They could move the lights around the level and see what it did in real time, which is something they couldn't do before, at least not at that precision. And that's where ray tracing is going to change the game. It's going to make the work of the developers much simpler, but it's going to be even simpler when there will only be ray tracing implementation. As long as there's still rasterization, it's not going to make that much of a change. But when a rasterization is completely gone, at least in terms of lighting, the difference would be enormous in terms of how fast developers will be able to work. Because faking lights, faking actual sunlight and things like that, the way it bounces on, here you've got this red carpet, the way it bounces off this, and you've got the subtle, here you can see it very clearly, the way this gray texture is actually taking some of the red. You can see it very well here. It's with rasterization, it's basically with global illumination, the way we did it before, it's basically baked into not the actual textures, but it's a bit more complicated than that. With ray tracing, you just have this gray texture, and of course its physical properties, how it reflects the light and things like that, and that's it. And then it works perfectly directly, and it's such a game changer. Sorry, a non-user. Yeah, it's a bit long, but ray tracing is something I've been following very closely ever since I've been playing with persistent vision on my 386. Of course, it was very different back then. Just a small picture would take hours to render. I didn't even have a mass coprocessor. But nowadays, it's, of course, it's not what we are seeing here is not what we call ray tracing back then. This is path tracing, which is a way to do ray tracing. But normally ray tracing, what you do, what we did before at least, is that every light in the scene would send rays around. So, and the rays will bounce a number of times, and some of them will go back into your virtual eyeball, and in the end you would have a ray traced image. Of course, it's incredibly time consuming. It's never going to be actually used ever. So what would you do with path tracing, like you see here? You actually send rays from your virtual eyeball, and these rays are actually going to intersect and bounce around and take a color, and in the end they will stop at some point and they will put a dot of color somewhere on the screen. So of course what you want is to have a lot of these rays, so at the end every point of your screen has a color. Obviously with ray tracing, with the RTX and stuff, it's not powerful enough to do that, and it's mostly never going to be powerful enough because you want to put more actual to do more bounces and things like that instead of for doing everything. So basically, what you get is a very noisy image, and some of the things that the RTX does is use a denoiser. So it's an algorithm that will my screen just shut down. Sorry. It will take all these dots and use an algorithm that will actually fill what's missing, and you will get the image you are actually seeing right now. Of course, this is in case you are doing a complete ray tracing. For example, here you are not using ray tracing to actually render the textures and things like that. So you've got rasterization, and on top of it, you are getting some the ray tracing stuff. That's why you can enable or disable some of the things. One implementation that's actually full ray tracing, if I understood completely, is Minecraft, where there is no rasterization. It's all ray tracing.
It's impressive.
It's incredible, honestly, the way Minecraft looks. Of course, you should just turn down the bloom a bit. Otherwise, it's incredible, honestly. Of course, if they had actually implemented lightning and everything in Minecraft, they could have done it with rasterization for the most part. But some of the things you actually see is what ray tracing is about. It's funny that currently Minecraft is the best way you can show ray tracing to people. Well, you can show videos of it. It's not available yet. But otherwise, it's, impressive stuff.
Oh, and we're back here.
Yeah. So maybe you could show another level. Sorry about the long talk.
Yeah, sure. I was.
Yeah, we've got just 3 minutes left.
Well, I tried to still in my microphysics. Again, I don't really know what is happening now. The videos I even though I played a little bit today and I didn't have the problem. So maybe it's because it's plugged into the capture card somehow. It's I don't know anymore anything.
Maybe it's a VSync issue. Yeah, you never know.
Could be. I don't know. But yeah, it's I tried to show the transparent reflections on glass and windows. You could see at some point a painting reflecting on the glass, and then also Jessie herself. And here, don't actually quite remember exactly where I am, but I'm just going to predictive studies. Oh yeah, more enemies. So here I can dodge.
How long did you play this game? Yeah, you didn't finish the game.
Well, you know, it's Epic Store, so there's no way to really know how long you've played.
Okay.
But I would say, I believe more than 10 hours, so I'm close to the end.
So it's longer than Quantum Break.
Yeah, I would say it's about, must be at least 15 hours. And when you don't try to do the, when you don't try to do everything, so there are several missions where they ask you to, there are, bosses, more or less, that optional bosses that you can, take down for them. Not all of them are, but keep throwing rockets at me, so here it is. Right back at you, man. A little too close to home. And you can see that they drop those little sort of blue thingies that are actually life. And then it's all quiet. The combat is really pure fun. It's just, I wish there were more powers. Probably.
Can you just stay in the here in this light? Look at the floor. Yeah, move a bit into the light. So yeah, okay. Can you turn RTX off and see how it looks? This should make a difference. Yeah, Yeah, it's still very good. They really have a good lighting engine, even with restoration. But you can see that the shadows are a bit more grainy, I guess.
And
They
here
don't look.
there's no reflection anymore in the glass.
Yeah.
Because if you put everything back on,
Yeah.
you can see that there's Jesse, but also it's not that clear here, but also the room itself. Well, not the room, the corridor, rather.
Yeah.
And yeah, very nice.
So an user is saying that it's similar to Second Son, the gameplay. Infamous Second Son, I guess.
It's been a while, but I would say it's more precise, more even more dynamic. I would say somehow. I don't know. Well, maybe the physics makes a difference. Like the character is less floaty than the can't quite remember how it was called in Second Son, but and there's a lot more interactions with the environment here. Basically, there's
Okay.
a lot of things you can
Did you
do.
want to show something more, or are we going?
Well, I think we've
To switch to
shown
French?
pretty much everything the ray tracing can do, and we've shown a bit of gameplay while you were talking. So, and there are like 6 more videos on the website showing the how the game plays with more maybe powers or more strength for the main character. So, I'll just advise people to check them out if they're interested. I don't think there are a lot of spoilers. There are no spoilers related to story because it's not like I've figured anything out yet, and I'm close to the end. So, but there are like 2 videos where you see optional bosses. If you really want to see them, just look at them. They are not called bosses videos, but you can tell when she's going somewhere and it's a big area and something's going to arrive, so you can stop when you see that. But the rest, tried my best to showcase gameplay as much as visuals as usual. And again, what Nvidia's brought on the table is not something you can't live without. Obviously, it's
Totally.
something you can do without. But even without RTX, you have to understand that Control is a very demanding game, and that you're not going to be able to play Control at 4K, 60 frames per second, and 1440p should be okay. But I don't even know with less powerful card. It's a 2080 Ti, so it's a pretty big one. So.
Well, you could have 2 of them,
I could, Nvidia, please send me one more. We could have a Titan also, maybe Titan cards are.
Titan RTX. Well,
Yeah.
we know that SLI is not what it was before. So.
Well, yeah, and I don't even know if Control is actually using SLI.
I think right now RTX only uses 1 card.
Oh yeah, so.
I think.
Yeah, look at the reflections again. Very nice.
Yeah, that's. Well, it looks almost as good without the RTX. It's just when you go to so this time the inverse, but when there's nothing to reflect anymore, it's just not going to show anything because it's screen space. So if it's not visible in the screen, it's not going to have a reflection.
Yeah, sure, and it's less detailed, but yeah, it still works very well. So
yeah, for sure,
you're not losing much if you don't have an RTX card. But obviously, if you have one, the possibility to actually select what you want to see is also good, because it's going to help you find that sweet spot where the game is going to be smooth for you and visually it's going to look good enough for you and your setup.
Anyway, so this was our back to school, almost back to school. It's going to be in a week.
Just a week, a week from now, I'll be back to school.
Okay. So
sadly,
almost back to school. I guess we will have some more lives in the future. So there's quite a few games.
Oh yeah, September is crazy. Like not all big games, but there are a lot of them that I actually want to see. So who knows? Maybe we'll have Olivier de Rivière again. There's Gridfall.
Again?
Yeah, I don't know. He hasn't told me if it's free, but there's Gridfall coming up in a week or maybe 10 days. No, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, 10 days, I would say. And Focus Interactive's PR at Gamescom that I went to see her just to say hi. And she said, "Oh, but there's Gridfall coming, so are you going to do something with Olivier?" So it's like, well, I don't know. I haven't talked about it. Oh, just, please do it. I said, oh, sure. Sure, if it's available, we'll do that. And
always a pleasure to
always
have
a pleasure.
some people who are actually involved with the game's production.
And he knows his stuff because he doesn't just compose the music. He actually plays the game for so many hours that he knows the game just as well as the developers, and he's just a crazy guy.
Sometimes it might be a bit painful because sadly not all the games he does he works on are really, really, really good.
Well, Plague Tale, I think did Plague Tale of Innocence.
It was amazing, but
it was and he's working on Dying Light 2, and believe me, from what I've seen, I think they were actually showing the demo that I saw in Gamescom. And I was
today, the 26 minutes demo. Yeah,
got me even more excited than last year's demo, and for me, it was just as impressive as a Metro game, and it's open world, and even in some way, I would say, I'm not going to compare Cyberpunk 2077 and Dying Light 2, but
is Techland?
Yeah, it's Techland, and
they've always been very good developers.
Yeah, it's true, but for me, it's like next year is going to be Dying Light and Cyberpunk 2077, and they're going to look incredibly good. And each for their own reasons and actually strength, they will be probably the top of what you can expect from those genres, I would say,
for this generation.
Actually they're cross-gen titles, so might be even for the beginning of next generation.
Yeah. Anyway, so I guess we will see you guys quite soon.
Yeah, sure, and thanks for watching.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.